welcome to episode 1 of Health Span Hacks with me, Poppy.
And me, Mark. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone. We're so excited. It's day 1 of the rest of our lives, Mark, and we're here to talk to people today in just 10 minutes about maybe a little something for them to think about in terms of developing their health span. What is health span, Mark? Can we just unpick that?
Well, that's a really good question, Poppy, and one that's going to take me about at least a couple of hours to answer. But
You've got about a minute.
Well, the thing that's at the moment, there's a lot of prominence on the word longevity. Everyone's looking at living longer. I think the most important thing, though, to remember is how ill or how healthy you are during that period. So, for instance, if you look at the life expectancy of women in the UK, though they live slightly longer than men, they're actually ill for longer than men.
Oh,
so yeah, so
I don't like that.
It's a mad stat, isn't it? So it's sort of good for you, but not so good in other ways. You know, it's a double-sided coin, I'm afraid, Poppy.
This is why I need our podcast.
That's right. It's going to be worth a fortune, these podcasts, actually. But that's right. So, you know, when we're looking at health span, or in a sense, a lifespan, because that refers to the quality of a life, it's really important. And I would say it takes dominance or prominence, if you like, over the whole longevity issue. I think we should change our focus slightly from longevity and look more towards health span stroke lifespan. I think it's quite important.
Love that. Okay, I understand. So I guess in our little podcast episodes, and they're just 10 minutes, so everyone enjoy them with your favorite drink and a snack. Take a mindful moment with me and Mark. We can think about little behaviors, little tips, tricks to really have a healthier lifespan or a health span. So I've actually got something I want to bring to you today, Mark, for our first episode, because the sun has got all of my friends talking about summer holidays, bikinis, getting on a diet. Not me, I'm pleased to say, like, I'm too busy to diet. But a lot of my friends are talking about which diet should they try. And I just wanted to bring that to you, because which diet should they try? Is there a diet? Is there a secret quick remedy for all my friends that want that beach bod? What's your advice?
Well, this podcast seems to be about you putting me on the spot all the time. So
get used to it. This is now the expectations.
I got asked this question the other day by a friend of mine, and he's been through a variety of diets. He must have been through about 10, 15 diets. And obviously, for him to ask me this question after how many years of trying out all these diets suggests that nothing has actually worked for him. I think a lot of diets can be quite controversial, and I won't go through that. But, you know, a lot of people are doing the intermittent fasting type approaches now, you know, a 5-2, for instance. And, you know, they have some good outcomes. So, you know, cardiovascular risk decreases, obviously you lose some weight, etc. But for myself, I think the mainstay diet would be a Mediterranean type approach. And the reason I say that is because you're not really introducing too much stress. The whole point of the IF or the intermittent fasting approaches is you introduce some stress into your body, which is quite decent. It's a good thing to do in some senses. It depends how much you introduce. But in regards to the med diet, you're not really introducing too much stress. And it can be accommodated a little bit more easily and tolerated a little bit more easily. So a lot of people I've spoke to or worked with in regards to intermittent fasting, they've picked it up quite well, but sticking with it long term can often be a bit difficult, can't it? Especially if you think about it, you're eating one day and then you're not eating the next day, for instance, or you're only eating in this window, etc. I think some people find that quite difficult to cope with. Is that what your friends are coming back with? What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the problem is we're so used to this like instant culture, aren't we? Like get what you want straight away, that sometimes it's hard to know you're going to have to work at something. One of my friends, and I just want to stress to anyone listening, we are not medical professionals here. We are not in any way giving anyone any medical advice. We are not, although we're both doctors, so that's
we
cool. But here we're just Mark and Poppy. We're just having a general anecdotal chat. One of my friends read about this diet, and again, we are not endorsing this at all, and it was called the OMAD, the 1 meal a day. And they told me that it basically means you don't eat for the rest of the day, but then at dinner time or whenever you have your 1 meal, you can eat as many calories as you want. I mean, I like the thought of the meal. I don't like the thought of no other meals. And someone else told me, a very, very lovely friend of mine is doing a calorie restriction diet. So she's saying she only wants to have I think it was 800 calories a day. Again, definitely not endorsing that. And so But when I spoke to her the other day, she said, I'm just craving bread. And she's actually started dreaming about bread. And I thought, wow, like it's getting into your subconscious. What's your thought on any of those? And so if a fad diet isn't the answer, if we're looking really at something we can stick to, I guess what's the healthier approach?
I think if you go for a very low calorie diet, which is how they're referred to, you can get as low as around 500 or 600 calories a day. They're really low. Some of the shake diets go down to about 500 or 600. I mean, it's really extreme. You'll usually find though that what you're doing is you're introducing some form of inadequacy, so you're not getting what you need bodily wise. So again, they're a short-term approach, but I think if we're looking for a diet, we're looking for a diet that's going to something that we can sustain and integrate into our lifestyle over the long term. So when you talk about which diet is best, I suppose you could argue and say, well, it's the one that sort of fits your lifestyle or accommodates your lifestyle. But you want a diet, one that doesn't induce ill health, one that doesn't induce risk from ill health, one that you can sustain, one that you're very happily to be able to integrate into your lifestyle. So for instance, if you think about it this way, Poppy, if you've been working all day, let's say you work in a factory or an office or whatever, and you come home at night, sometimes a lot of people I've spoken to don't want to cook when they get in, and the last thing they want to do is start counting calories or taking off certain types of food they need to eat, or not even have the knowledge or even the education around the types of foods they need to consume that conform to the diet they're taking. So it's all about making sure that if you do adopt a diet, the term diet's another thing we should perhaps discuss, then you make sure it conforms. So I think for me, a quick transition from one to another would be a med diet, purely on the basis that you most probably eat some of those recommendations. So for instance,
I was going to ask you,
fiber and starch and stuff.
I mean, Mediterranean diet to me is screaming cheese and wine and meat. Is that what a Mediterranean diet is?
Fantastic,
I can get into that. What is it?
Who cares? Let's just all do it. It sounds great.
Sitting in the sun.
Well, I think the thing is about the Mediterranean diet, and the word carbohydrate is not particularly it's fashionable at the moment. So in the sense that people try and avoid it, a lot of people do. And the med diet usually encompasses around 50% carbohydrate, and you've obviously got your protein and your fats, etc. The glass of wine is more of a polyphenol type thing where, it's health, it's good for you, that sort of thing, as long as you don't do it excessively. But as you know, there's sort of people are advocating for removing alcohol completely from our lifestyle. So that's another issue. But I think the reason why we do the med diet is because it encompasses all the food groups we think good. And if you look at the English healthy food plate and all the other recommendations, they sort of conform to that sort of med diet thing. It's a bit of dairy, bit of meat, lots of veg, lots of oily fish, those sorts of things anyway. So I think that's why it's a preference, to go with a med diet. I mean, there's been some really good research where they've taken people on a paleo type diet and they've compared it with a Mediterranean diet. And though the paleo type diets will see quite a strong amount of weight loss initially, more so than on the med diet, once you get down a long period of time, 6 months or so, they sort of about the same in regards to weight loss. So if you're going to do it purely for quick term weight loss, perhaps you'll get a benefit out of it. And I know people have done it, but I don't really know many people that have stuck with it, a paleo type diet. But I do know people that have stuck with a med diet because I think it's a little bit easier to accommodate.
Well, I will tell my friends to check out the med diet. And I guess what you said is exactly right, Mark. It's so much bigger than just food, isn't it? Because there's so much else there. If you're working hard, you need some kind of fulfillment. You need to nourish your soul. You need to think about your well-being. And actually, is cutting out your favorite foods the best way you're going to stick with something? So it's definitely part of a bigger picture. I feel like we will definitely continue thinking about diet as we go through the next few episodes. But thank you, Mark. I've got something I can go back and tell my friends now.
Yeah, that's right. They'll be fixed now for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely taking away that I can eat as much cheese as I want.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking those really pertinent questions, Poppy. It was really good.
That was good.
And thanks for putting me on the spot. It was really good.
Well, I'll have to have a think what to ask you next week now. So watch your space.
Oh no, it's my turn next, I reckon.
And thank you everyone for joining us. If you do have a question you'd like me to put to Dr. Mark on the spot, leave it in the comments. Or for him to ask me anything around how we can develop these healthy behaviours to live longer and healthier. So till next week, take care everyone. And thanks, Mark. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, Poppy. Great to see you. Bye-bye.